Hi Christine. Hi Elizabeth. Hi Wendy. It's must be confusing. It's Spain you live, isn't it, Wendy? So it must be a bit confusing. Hope you can all hear me okay. Can you just let me know if the sound and the picture seems okay to you, please? It's very dark here today. Hi Lisa. Brilliant, thank you Wendy. That's marvellous. Right, shall I just crack on? I think I will. And then I'll just try and keep my eye on the comments and welcome people as and when they join us. So hi, welcome to Friday once again. These Fridays seem to come round awfully quick, don't they? If they come round quickly to me, I'm not really surprised that Lisa can forget what day of the week it is, because they must come round twice as quick for her. So anyway, so this is what I'm going to be making today. I'm making a few more Christmas cards than I normally make, thanks to our lovely Heidi, because she said that I needed to send everybody a Christmas card because I didn't make many. So this I think is my third Christmas card. Anyway, that's the reason I'm doing another card. And what I wanted to do today really was to just show you that if you don't like colouring, or you're not very good at colouring, you don't have to make Lisa's stamps look good. There is absolutely no pen colouring or pencil colouring on this card at all. The only colour is from stamping. So I think you'll agree that it looks quite attractive without any colouring. So if colouring is what puts you off buying a particular stamp, especially something like this trailing foliage. The trailing foliage was drawn by a lady called Anne Ruffles, and she drew that to go with the butterfly collection. And this is the trailing foliage that I've used, and you can see that there are, as well as the three main stamps, there are several other little extra stamps that you can use. Now when I cut out this foliage, I have actually cut off some of these little tendrils, because they are very fiddly to cut out, and I don't think it spoils the look of them. But you can see that there is a little tendril here, and then there's a little extra branch with a tendril on it as well. So if you wanted to go back and add those in once you'd glued everything down, then you could do. And you could also go and add in the seed pods and the extra little leaves if you wanted to as well. So as well as the big stamps, don't forget the little ones, because they are really useful. So that's the trailing foliage that I've used. Now it's fiddly to cut out, but to be honest, it's worth the effort. Well, I think it is anyway. So let's get stuck in. So the first thing I'm going to do is stamp my postcard stamp. I don't know whether you can see that in the background. The postcard is actually in the background. I love this stamp. I really ought to use it more often than I do, because I just think it makes a really fantastic background without too much effort. It's a beautiful stamp. It stamps fantastically well, she said, hopefully, because I think the block that I'm using, I don't think it's completely flat, so sometimes I won't get a particularly good print off my stamp, but that's more about what I'm using than the stamp, trust me. If I use it with my stamping platform, it's perfect. So I'm just going to stamp this on here, and I'm using an archival ink. because I just wanted to use browns on this. I wanted it to be a sepia based card, and it took me a while to work out which brown to use. The one I used on the one I did yesterday, this one, was the Distress Ink in Vintage Photo. When I was looking for colours, I thought, oh, I know what I can use. I'll use the tea dye one because that'd be perfect. But do you know what? It's completely the wrong colour for what I wanted. And I'll show you what I mean. This is the tea dye. And in here it looks sort of like a pinky brown. But actually when I stamped it out, I think that's quite an orange colour. And it really wasn't what I wanted. Hi Natalia. It really wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't the right shade of brown to go with everything else that I was doing. So always worth testing your stamp before you actually use it on your project, so that you don't waste your time. I mean, okay, it's a piece of card, it's not going to go to waste. I probably will use it on another project, but if you've got a certain colour scheme in mind, it's worth just checking your stamps before you start. It just saves you a bit of wasted time, to be honest. So what I'm going to do is just flip that over and just rub the back before I lift it off. See, that's perfect. I love that. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's a vintage postcard and it's meant to look a little bit raggedy around the edges. So the next thing we're going to do is just rip the edges, and if you rip the card towards you, you will end up with this edge on here that you can then go and ink afterwards to give it this aged look around the edge. And I'll do that in a second. So always pull it towards you to get that frayed edge on your card. This is just some cheap card that I'd got in my stash that I just wanted to use up, to be honest. But it does tear quite well, and it does give a really nice torn edge look to this card, to this stamp rather. Right, let's get rid of those. And then all I'm going to do is just brush the edges with a little bit of ink. Hi Heidi, hi Lynn. Just to give the edges that worn, weathered look. And you can see that these edges where the paper has sort of split on the levels, it just gives you that really nice vintagey edge to the stamp. I love that effect. I used this on the cover of my rag book, if you remember, and I ripped it in half as though it had been sort of discarded and found and reused. I like that idea. So there we go. That's the first part done. So I'll just leave that to one side for now. Now in the background here, you can see that on this white piece of card, which is 5x7, it's actually half a 5x7 card, and I've just matted and layered that onto a piece of craft card, which is 5.5 by 7.5 inches, just to give you that lip around the edge. And I've also brushed the craft card with the same brown ink. I think I used the Distress Ink actually on this, but I'm going to use the Archival today. And you'll see on this white piece here, I've stamped the music score. So that's the postcard stamp that I've used, which is just fabulous. And then I've used the music sheet. I don't think there's a particular way up. I'm sure Heidi Spencer could tell me whether there's a right way and a wrong way up, but I don't really think it matters because A, you're not going to see very much of it, and unless you're sending it to a musician, they're not going to know any difference either. So there's my blank craft card, and as I say, that's 5.5 by 7.5, and then this is the piece, the 5x7 piece, that I'm going to stamp the music sheet onto. Now I'm using my platform purely and simply because I want I want to leave the stamp in the same place, and it is a bit messy, but hey ho. So just put my magnets down there. Now to stamp with this, I'm using the Eyes Ink metal ink pads, and this is the gold one. I just think this is a really nice colour to use in the background. I think it's it just gives that little bit of richness without sort of leaping out and smacking you in the face, because I wanted it to be in the background. I want the postcard to take centre stage, so I want this to be a lot lighter. Just move that over there a bit, so that I've got the whole of that stamp on there. And then just stamp that down on the background. I've actually missed a piece, but I don't think it'll matter because I'm going to go around the edge of this as well in a minute anyway. So I'll just flip it round, and like I said, this is why I'm hoping it doesn't matter whether there's a right way up or a wrong way up, because I flipped the card round, so one's one way and one's the other way, but blind man on a galloping horse isn't going to see whether it's right or wrong, are they? And that's the beauty of handmade. You get away with all sorts making handmade cards. So there we go. Take that off there, and I'll clean that in a bit. Okay, so then I'm just going to go round the edge of this card again with the same ink, just to give it that sort of aged look so that it fits in with everything else. Not much ink at all really, it's so quick, so easy. I know Heidi uses this technique a lot, and I know she loves this music stamp. Oh, you've already said that, Heidi, haven't you? See, I'm just proving that I listen to what you say, Heidi, you see. Okay, so that's my stamping done. And then I'm just going to pop that down there, and I'm going to glue that down so that that's done and out of the way. Dead quick, dead easy. The thing that takes the time with this card, to my mind, is the cutting out of the trailing foliage stamp. But as I say, I do think it's well worth the effort, because it's one of those stamps that you can use for so many different occasions. I mean, you can use it for Christmas, which is what I'm doing. You could use it for Halloween, you could use it for birthdays, all sorts of things. Because let's face it, Ivy's around all over the place. Danny stamps. What, the music sheet? Well, he's a clever boy. And the postcard. He's a clever boy, that Danny. I knew there was a reason I liked him. Need time to make some more, please. Right. So, on my postcard, I just want to add a little bit of interest. And what I used yesterday was mermaid tails. I am using mermaid tails again today, but I'm using a different colour. Because, as we all know with mermaid tails, when you look at the name on the jar and the texture stamps, oh, he's clever. When you look at the name on the jar and it says golden sparkle, you think, oh, gold, go with what I'm doing. Does it poo? There's more blue in this gold than there is gold, and I think you'll see on there that you have to tip it in a certain way. I mean, I can see purple now. Purple, green, blue, anything except gold, although there is a little bit of gold in there. So I thought I'll use a different one. And what I've decided to do with all my mermaid tails is what I showed you with the pastel set, is I'm going to put them onto white and black card so that I know what colour they're going to look when you use them on your project. So this one is the Stardust and Magic set, and I have to say, I've got to be honest, that these are mainly sold out, so you probably won't get them again. But if you've already got them, I would suggest this is a good idea, because it's going to save you time in the long run, and you're going to know what colours you're going to come across and how they're going to look on both black and white card. Okay, I'm using it on sort of a browny background, but if you put them on white and black, then you're going to get an idea of what they're going to look like. So I thought, oh, I know, I'll use Golden Sun, that looks great. But of course this is on black card. You look at it on white card, it's not golden at all, is it? It's green and blue and things. So I'm not using that one today either. What I am using is this one, which is called Ginger Biscuit. And I've no doubt that when I put it on the card, it won't be ginger at all. But I don't care. So long as it gives it a little bit of sparkle, then that's all I'm bothered about really today, to be honest. So I'm going to just put a little bit of copy paper down, and then I'm just going to dot glue all over this postcard. Just dead random, not in any place in particular, not even any shapes really, just to give it a bit of background sparkle. And I'm just going to put those all over. I know that looks messy. Oh, it is messy. And then what I'm going to do is just flatten them down with another piece of copy paper, so that where I put the glue, the mermaid tails will stick. She said, hopefully. That's how I did the other one anyway. So if I just tip that up now. Oh, perfect. See? That's just stuck exactly where I want it to. And now I'm looking at this. There's more gold in this one. But again, there's quite a bit of blue and pink. But hey ho, it's gold mainly. Now then, when you come to put your mermaid tails back in your jar, do it slowly, because they do tend to rush down your sheet of paper and overshoot your little pot. Because as we've said before, and I think this is something that Heidi says a lot, the more you use them, the more you think you've got. Because I've just tipped that pot upside down all over that postcard, and look, have I used any? Doesn't look like it, does it? This is why they were such a good buy, because they just last forever and ever. Which is just as well really, as there's no more. Oh. So, let me just move all that glittery paper out of the way, as otherwise I'll have glitter everywhere. And then I'm just going to stick the postcard down onto the background. So it saves me getting glitter all over my hands using the piece of copy paper, and it just gives you somewhere to tip them afterwards as well. So I just pop that down there. Now obviously I can't just press it down like I normally would, because otherwise the mermaid tails will be all over the place. So what I could do is go back with my copy paper and just make sure that my postcard's stuck down. Now you can see there's mermaid tails everywhere. I should be walking around covered in mermaid tails now for the next week. But still, never mind. It's part of the fun, isn't it? So, the next thing I'm going to do is add my foliage, which I've already printed and cut out. And again, no colouring. Haven't done any colouring on any of this at all. Now what I did yesterday was just place these down first, so that you can get an idea of where everything's going to go before you stick it down. And I would always advise you to do that. I know it's something Natalia does. I've watched Natalia's videos and I know she does that quite a bit. And it is a really good idea. So I'm going to pop that down there, and that one's going to go in front, and then that one's going to just sit behind like that. Okay, I think that's okay. And then you'll notice on here that I've got numbers. I'm coming to that in a minute, because there's just something that I wanted to show you. So what I'm going to do is put all this down, stick it all down, and then we'll come to the numbers. So as I say, I stamped all this in. Yesterday I did use Vintage Photo Distress ink, but if I was going to do it again, I would use the archival in coffee. I looked at Tree Branch, but again, to be honest, it wasn't really the right shade of brown that I wanted. When I stamped it out, it just didn't look right. So again, always worth just stamping a little test piece so that you can see what colour you're actually going to end up with. I'll just pop that down there. Now remember that when you're sticking this down, because you're sticking it some of the places onto mermaid tails, it's going to take a little bit longer just to adhere properly, but it will, because this pin flare bookbinding glue is really good. Gives you time to move things around if you need to, but it is a very good glue, and you won't lose anything once you've used this. I mean, if they can use it for bookbinding, using it for something like this is a piece of cake, really, isn't it? No, nobody mentioned mermaid tails at all, Sarah. You're imagining it. I think you've got a problem, dear. Just kidding. We all know you've got a problem. I don't think you're alone, though. Okay, Natalia, see you later. Okay, so I'm going to leave this one for a second, and then I'm just going to add these down here in the corner. Now I think what I'm going to do, what I meant to do on the other one yesterday, was I was going to add a little bit of glitter onto the little stamens in the middle of the flowers, and I forgot yesterday, so I'm going to do that today. And what I'm going to use is not mermaid tails. I'm actually using some of the colour change glitter, and this is copper, and again, it isn't obviously going to be what it says it is on the jar. Hi Tina. You love the glue, Tina. I know that you use a lot of glue, and trust me, you will love it. It's such an easy glue to use. That sounds daft, really, but it is. So I'll just pop this on here and just do the other one. And this will just give the flowers a little bit of interest in the middle, because obviously you're not adding any colour with pens and pencils and the like. So this will just add your little bit of colour interest for you into the middle of your flowers. So that's that one, and that's that one. Oh yeah, I definitely should have done that yesterday, definitely. Okay, I'm not actually sure whether Lisa's got any of the colour change glitters left either. I never asked her about those, I only asked about mermaid tails. So I'm going to pop these down here. Now if you wanted to, you could cut into these and lift the leaves up a little bit and make them a little bit more 3D, but I didn't want to do that today. I wanted them to be flat. I wanted this card to be flat so that it's a little bit easier on the postage costs, to be honest, because as I'm sending so many Christmas cards this year, I have to think of the cost. Thank you, Heidi. So there you go. Those are going to be just at an angle. I don't like straight stuff. I always like to put things at an angle, and I think these two flowers, Christmas roses, for want of a better phrase, because that's what they remind me of, I think putting them in at an angle just looks right. Oh, there it is. I was just going to say I've lost my pine cone. But I haven't. It was hiding. And I'm just going to pop this underneath in the middle of those two flowers. Like so. And again, no colour on the flowers, no colour on the pine cones, nothing at all. So then I'll just add this bit in. I'm just going to pop that there, and then my numbers are going to go here. So I'll just pop this down here. You are the only reason I buy this glue, Lisa. You sold it to me, listening to you. So it's your fault. When my husband comes in, why you bought more glue? Oh, that's Lisa's fault. That's what I say. It's my answer to everything these days. What you bought that for? It's Lisa's fault. Okay. So there we go. There's all my foliage. And then I'm going to add my numbers. Now I've also used the festive ticker phrases for this. What have I done with the thing? Oh, it's here somewhere. There it is. There it is. So I've used the festive ticker phrases on this card, and the one I've used is this one. Open on the 25th. But I've done a bit of a Claire here. You know how Claire likes to mix and match her sentiments? Well, I've sort of done the same. So I've actually only used, excuse the nails by the way, I've actually only used open on the, and then I've used the polka dot numbers stamps, and I've stamped my numbers out with the little TH that goes after them, and I've die cut them out with the dies. These numbers and the stamps and the dies, trust me, you are going to use over and over and over again. Can you imagine how many birthdays you're going to use these for? Silver weddings, golden weddings, all the big birthdays, kids' birthdays. They're fantastic. I would never be without these. They're brilliant. And then these roses and the pine cone have obviously, these come from the Festive Flora and Fauna set. A fantastic stamp set. If you make a lot of Christmas cards, you will love this set. It's just got everything. Mistletoe, ivy. I'd love to know what this one's called. So Lisa, if you know, well, I mean, obviously you know, you drew it. Can you tell me what it's called? Because I really like it. It's fiddly to cut out, but it's a fabulous stamp, and I love it. But it's a really fantastic set to use for Christmas cards. However, you can use the rose and the pine cones for not Christmas cards. You could probably use this one and these two for not Christmas cards as well. So again, the versatility of these stamp sets is, in my opinion, second to none. So there you go. So the numbers that I've used, obviously polka dot numbers, and the little part of the one of the festive ticker phrases. Now if I put this down first, now the eagle-eyed amongst you will probably have spotted that I have embossed these, and the reason that I embossed them was because I just wanted them to stand out a little bit more from the card than just plain stamped. So I don't know whether you can see the difference between those two numbers. One's embossed and one isn't, and I've not embossed this one because I'm going to do that with you now. So if I just put the two down first, get that out of the way, and then I'll just quickly do the embossing on the 5 with you. Now obviously you can see that that's covering some of the ivy. That doesn't bother me. It's just part and parcel of the layering of your card. I just think it adds to the interest. But what I wanted to do with you was just show you how I do my embossing. And I know that probably sounds, I don't mean it to sound patronising, it's not meant like that. What I wanted to show you was how I was taught to do embossing, the difference between embossing from the front and from the back. And I was always told, if you emboss from the front, the finish on your embossing might be a little bit what we call pitted, and it's just something to do with the way it heats, to be honest. But I always emboss from the back, and if you emboss from the back, it gives you more of a mirror finish on your embossing, and I just think it looks nicer. So excuse the heat gun just for a second. It should be hot enough because I've used it this morning. Okay, never ceases to make me smile watching embossing turn. I know that's it's the simple things in life that impress me. So the finish on that is quite nice. I don't know whether you can see that on camera. It's got quite a nice glassy finish to it, but what I'm going to do is emboss it twice, and this is what they call double embossing, and it just gives it that extra little bit of shine. I think if you emboss it twice, it just makes it stand out a little bit better, in my opinion. And again, I'm going to heat from the back because I want that mirror finish on my number. Again, excuse the gun just for a second. Okay. Mind your fingers when you're doing that, especially if you're using tweezers, because obviously heat gun's hot, and these are metal tweezers, so it might radiate up the tweezers a little bit, but to be honest, it's not on for that long, so you'll probably be fine. But I think if you look at that, if you look at the finish on that 5, that's quite a glass-like finish, and that's what I like on my embossing. I don't like to see that pitted look. If you look at this card that I did yesterday, if you look at the sentiment here, open on thee, I'd stuck this down onto my little piece of backing card before I embossed it, and I don't know whether you can pick it up, but it is a little bit pitted on that open on there, and I didn't want that to be the same on this one, so I've done all of this from the back. I will just put my lid on my embossing powder before it ends up all over the floor, because that would be a disaster. And then it's just a case of sticking it down, and this is like the finishing touch, if you like. So there we go. But I think when you finish the card, the 25th is just going to stand out a little bit more than perhaps it would have done if you'd have just done it in, you know, ink and die cut. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If that's the look you prefer, if that's the look that goes with your card, then brilliant. That's entirely up to you. There we go. My little TH is a bit crooked, but hey ho. Okay, so I've used 2 different mermaid glitters. Can you tell the difference? I'm just waiting for my camera to catch up to see if I can see a difference on the camera, because I can see a difference, I have to be honest. They are a completely different colour, but I just think it gives it just that little bit of interest. But this ginger biscuit, perhaps I should have used the ginger biscuit where I've used the mermaid tails, and used the colour changing glitter instead. But again, I can make another one and use that glitter instead. So the world's your oyster, if you like. So there you go, 2 Christmas cards, which are virtually the same, a little bit different, but just goes to show that you don't have to colour in if you don't want to. If you're not very good at it, if you don't like it, it doesn't stop you buying an intricate stamp and being able to use it and make it look fantastic. And I hope you'll agree that they do look fantastic. And I think they just, everything just goes together so beautifully. So nice background stamps. Get Danny on some more because they're brilliant. And yeah, it'll be on YouTube later on this afternoon because all I've got to do is upload it, so that shouldn't be a problem. I will just whiz through your comments just in case I've missed any questions or anything, but hopefully the other DT girls will have been able to answer any questions. So Claire will be with you on Tuesday. I know that Jane is doing another little video for you that she's going to be uploading to YouTube, and she will share that in the group. Good-o. That's what I like to see, Lisa. And then Natasha should be with you on Wednesday. And from now on, I will let you into a little secret that Lisa will be doing more lives, particularly after the shows, just to sort of run through things that perhaps she didn't get time to do in the show, because, you know, with the 45-minute show, sometimes it's a bit tight on demos and that. So Lisa will be back 2 or 3 days after the show. We've got to give her time to do the packing and send you all your lovely goodies out, and then she'll come back and do a live for you. No, you can't get out of it now, Lisa. I've dropped you in it now, haven't I? Sorry. But it's worth it because she's brilliant. So, you know, we just have to keep on at her. So, but she doesn't mind. She loves it, really. So there you go, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Friday afternoon. Enjoy your weekend. I hope the weather's kind to you. And I look forward to seeing you all on Tuesday with Claire. So enjoy your weekend, everybody, and thanks very much for joining me. See you next week. Bye.